Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Sorry for not getting these out on Friday. I'm trying everything in my power to do it. The new software that I'm using is not cooperating, so I apologize. I want you to bear with me. Hopefully, get this figured out, get everything back in order, get these out on Fridays, and that being said, I feel like missing Monday morning, not the end of the world. There weren't that many things anyway. Um, and I'm just going to jump into it because Monday after the close, things pick up and then they just really be busy for the rest of the week. All right. So after the close, prefacing one thing here, these option prices are as of Friday. So they may be moving a little bit, but they are as of Friday. So some of them may have adjusted, may have moved a little bit today, may have adjusted a little bit, but overall, kind of in the same ballpark, right? So after the close on Monday, so today, Chegg, 17 points. Those are monthly options, is what they're looking for. Very strong quarter in May, continues to act well. Right area to be in, right? E-learning stock looks solid, but it is up a lot in a few days. So it does seem set up well for higher prices, but at the same time, kind of have to question what's priced in, what's expected at this point, right? And that's going to be a really big theme you're going to hear me talk about throughout this video. How high are expectations, and is good news already priced in? Ring, RNG, about 24 points is what they're looking for. It was a big mover on the work from home trend earlier in like March and April, but then it started to like kind of run out of gas in May, and now it's been stuck underneath 300. If it can get through 300, it could really be a pretty nice pent-up breakout, but it's going to probably have to be very solid because some of these other like work from home stocks have been sell the news on their earnings. So it does seem to have potential, but it's probably going to have to be very, very good. Take Two, about 12.5 points. That's what's expected on this. EA had a strong report. This is the next gaming stock up. I guess the biggest issue with Take Two is like A, it keeps running ahead of earnings, and B, it hasn't had an actual very, very big move on its own earnings report in a while, so option pricing isn't cheap. EA also didn't move as much as expected, so I think I'm on the fence with this one. For the open on Tuesday, IPGP. So you may not be familiar with this name, but it does tend to move around earnings. Looking for about 22 points or so. And definitely more risky, but it does look to be finally turning the corner after a real long stretch of underperformance. And if they could put together another solid quarter, I mean, there could be a pretty nice breakout above like this 180, 185 area. After the close on Tuesday, so Activision. So EA last week, Take Two tonight, and then Activision is tomorrow night. About 6.5 points. This will be the third of the gaming stocks, so a lot might be priced in after Take Two's numbers. The way I look at this is either an avoid, or I might go in the opposite direction if it keeps kind of running ahead of earnings. Beyond Meat, about 17.5 points. Again, just asterisk with these pricing. It's as of Friday, so they may have moved a little bit today, but this is as of price. The pricing is as of Friday, so about 17.5 points is what they're looking for on Friday. Now, it has not acted great over the last few weeks, but it's starting to wake up, right? And coming off a really strong quarter in May when it jumped, I think it's one that could get life ahead of earnings, right? It's moving up today. Still got some short interest. It's one of those names that retail and a lot of traders like to focus on. So, it does need to get through some overhead supply, but it also does move quite a bit. So, could be one to keep an eye on. Match, about 10 points. What's priced in here? Stock looks solid. I mean, just at its 52-week high. Its average move on earnings, though, the last 3 quarters has been a little bit smaller. So, this is not a name I've had a lot of experience trading, and with the average move kind of tightening up on it, probably seems like a tough scenario or a tough setup. So I think I'll end up just watching that one. Twilio, so about 30 points is what's priced in here. One of the biggest winners from earnings last quarter. Stock has kept running and running and running. I mean, I think the numbers should be great. I cannot figure out what's priced in at this point, where the expectations are. I mean, is there any room to keep going on top of that. So that's really the biggest question mark for me. I mean, it does seem though that 300 may act as a magnet, considering it's only about 14 or 15 points away from it now. Disney, about $6 is what they're looking for in this. Probably going to be a rough quarter for Disney. I mean, it seems like the stock has been forming a higher base, but anything travel, hospitality just had brutal numbers this quarter. I still view Disney, well, in my opinion, Disney's more of like a longer term story, not a shorter term one. Before they open on Wednesday, CVS. So about 3 points is what they're looking for here. Big healthcare retail report. Walgreens disappointed, but CVS has acted a lot better than Walgreens. Chart does seem due for a move, and I think it might be one that actually could be a decent volatility strategy candidate. And I don't know if Walgreens numbers are a tell, but it does seem like there's potential in that one. Fiverr. So about 17 to 18 points is what's priced in here. Those are monthly options. I mean, it's just a huge momentum name since April. I mean, crushed it last quarter, has kept running at an all-time high. Biggest question mark again. I mean, what is priced in at this point? I mean, the stock has just been nonstop running the last 2 weeks, so it's just a huge question mark. I don't know how high the bar is at this point, and if there's room to continue on top of that. LL. So about $3 is what's priced in. Finally back from the dead. Anything housing related seems to be on fire. This has been running. I will say this does tend to move on earnings though, so it could be one that sets up well for maybe like a strangle or something like that. Wayfair, another one, about 38 points is what they're pricing in. I really have no idea what to expect with this. I mean, stock is up a ton. I'm sure everyone's expecting good results. Has some momentum. Still has some short interest. It's definitely not as high as it once was, but I mean, again, I just have no idea how high the bar is on this and if there's room to keep going. After the bell on Wednesday, so you'll notice more of the same here. Etsy, about 14.5 points, give or take, is what they're pricing in. Anything e-commerce is fantastic right now. This is no exception. Stock is at a new 52-week high. I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue to act well ahead of earnings. I don't know how much is left after this huge run it's had ahead of the report, so I'm on the fence with that one. Fastly, another name, about 17.5 points is what's priced in here. Another momentum name running into earnings. Another name at a 52-week high. Had a great quarter in May and has just been on fire since then. I feel like a lot of these momentum names that are at a 52-week high that are up a ton in the last 2 weeks, a lot of them are going to be more swing trade candidates versus earnings. I feel like I want to see what the numbers are like. I want to see how the stocks act, and then if they set up after earnings and the option prices come down, then maybe I'll look at them. But a lot of these just seem way too parabolic for me into earnings. Roku, different story. So this actually looks interesting. I mean, it has been building like a base above 150. It's right at the top of like 1 yearish resistance. It seems like if it can really put together a good quarter, it could break out. I mean, they are pricing in 21 points, so the options aren't cheap. But at the same time, it hasn't broken out and cleared the previous 52-week high, so it could be one that could have an explosive pattern or explosive move in it. Square, another momentum name, about 12.5 points. What's priced in, new 52-week high. This has been bid up with PayPal, Venmo, Cash App story. I mean, like those numbers have just been fantastic. It's been on my swing trade list, and it'll probably stay that way as long as the numbers are solid. And then Zynga, so about $1 is what they're looking for. It could be interesting if they can deliver, because above 10, I mean, like the long-term chart really has a lot of room. Working on like a multi-year rebound, so it could be worth a look. For the open on Thursday, Bristol Myers, so about 3.5 points is what's priced in this. Pharma stocks have had solid quarters, but the action hasn't been real good. Bristol Myers hasn't had a whole lot of momentum, but it does seem to have potential if it can reset above 60. I mean, there seems to be room. I'm less convinced it'll be an earnings play, but could be worth a look as a swing trade. Might be something longer term. After the close on Wednesday, that so about $7 is what's priced in. Those are monthly options. Another momentum software stock, right at its 52-week high. Trades along with Fastly, and Fastly will report first, so it may react to those numbers. So I'm gonna have to see where it is going into its own report. But I mean, overall, it looks solid and it's acted great. Datadog. I feel like a broken record, but I mean, a lot of the same story here. I mean, 12 points is what's priced in. Another really strong momentum name, right at its 52-week high. Had a huge move last quarter. It's getting to act great since then. I mean, I would be expecting another strong quarter. I really have no idea how high the expectations are and what's priced in at this point. Stamps.com. I mean, another name. Could be a big mover, but expectations are a lot higher. I mean, the stock has just been running and running and running ahead of earnings. They're looking for 43 points, and a lot of names that related to e-commerce have been great, but I don't know how high the bar is. It has historically been a real big mover, and the options are priced that way. So, I mean, it definitely is a name that in the past has had some really, really monster moves. So, I mean, it seems like there's potential, but it's also the options are priced pretty high on it. Trade Desk. About 51 points is what they're looking for. I mean, deja vu here, and another momentum name right at its 52-week high. I will say I'm more cautious with Trade Desk because last quarter um, wasn't particularly great, and this one doesn't tend to get rewarded well on earnings, on good earnings. So I'm definitely a little more cautious on this one. Uber. About 2.5 points is what they're looking for. This and Lyft surprised with the upbeat commentary last quarter, but travel, hospitality, all of these companies have just been brutal. Um, the numbers have just been brutal. I really don't know what type of movement to expect on this. It's sitting right at the low of recent support. It's kind of like a toss-up pattern to me. Zillow. So about 8.25 is what priced in here. It could be interesting. Working on a breakout through multi-year resistance. Housing-related companies have been putting up really good numbers this quarter. Short interest is still fairly substantial on this too, so it does seem to have some potential. And then last but not least, Friday morning, CSIQ. So it's actually a pretty big week for solar in general, this is one that's a little bit more interesting than some of the others. They're looking for about 2 points, but what's interesting about this is the long term chart. If it can get above 60, not 65, if it can get above 25, there could be like a pretty substantial pent up yearly breakout on it. There seems to be quite a bit of room above 25. If it's good, it can get up through that because I mean it is priced in about 2 and it's in like the 22 and a half range. So I mean that would put it back close to 25. So it's going to have to be good and it's going to have to get through 25. But above that, it could really have some room to run. All right. So lots of names this week. Lots of expected big movers. And let's hope for some good action. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more option trade ideas, more earning trade ideas with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Have a wonderful night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.